Can you share a story, like a success story of maybe a team that eliminated drama and like the productivity difference there?
I've done workshops and training with teams of all sizes over the years, and the story that shows up again and again and again is usually about what I call pulling a weed. And so when I'm talking about team drama, we ultimately will get to a conversation about how some people are just not capable of showing up in the ways that you and I have been sitting here and talking about for the past 50 minutes. There are some people who like to gin up drama. There are some people who like to burn the fire of gossip. There are some people who just are not capable of assuming good intent and going to the source and being self-aware and having those conversations. And, when I ask members of teams who call me and say, hey, we got a lot of team drama here, we're dealing with a lot of dysfunction, one of the first questions I will ask is there one person on your team right now, or maybe two, who if they left today and never came back, most of this drama would go away? And believe it or not, Brian, the answer is almost always yes. And so then they start telling me story after story after story about this person who has just been a bad actor for a long time and all the ways they've tried to address it, but they're still there because, well, they're a really good front desk person, or they're a really good accountant, or they're a really good nurse. And I have to challenge them on that to say, hold on, are they a really good nurse, or are they just clinically competent? But they're lacking this whole other set of interpersonal skills about what it means to be a good, adaptable teammate and be a good fit for our team and our culture. Because if that's true, then what you've got is a weed in your garden. And there's no amount of oxygen or CO2 or fertilizer and water that's going to turn that weed into a beautiful, thriving plant. And there's only one way to deal with a weed, and that is that you have to pull it. And so the stories I get, the success stories that I hear all the time after I do my No More Team Drama keynote at a conference or after somebody reads the book, I get calls and emails all the time from people who say, guess what? We pulled a weed. Oh my goodness. What a difference it has made. Almost immediately, I was working with an organization that had 2 locations, and they had a weed in their garden. And when they were telling me story after story after story of this person, they told me that this person had been working there for 14 years and they had been a problem for 14 years. And I said, if you know that they're doing harm, why are they still here? And the owner of the business raised her hand and said, that's on me. That's my fault, because this person has worked for me for so long that I cannot imagine them not being here. And I just don't know that I have the courage. And she used that word, courage, to pull the weed. Well, a few months later, something interesting happened. That toxic employee went out on an FMLA leave, and they were gone for 4 months. And that's when the owner of the business saw it. They had a completely different team dynamic, a completely different workplace, and everything went back to bad when that person returned. And so sure enough, 9 months later, I got a call from the business owner. She said, I did it. I pulled the weed, and it's a night and day difference.
Wow. That makes perfect sense.